Hello my brothers, what's up? In this video we will build this cool website with this slider and this simple animation. This is a fake travel agency website which I call that Compass. As you see, it is responsive, it works on all devices. We will use modern technologies and features like lamp, variable, flexbox, etc. Also, we'll use vanilla JavaScript to add our functionalities. We will try to write clean code, and that's it.
Here is our design. I have designed with Figma. As you see, we have desktop and mobile versions, and we have a few quotes here we will use in our project. Now let's move from design to markup. We have header into container to keep the content in the middle, and the logo. The logo contains H2 and P, and we have nav. It has 5 links, and we have hamburger. We need it later with the mobile version, but for now we make it a display none. Our hamburger has 2 icons, one to open and one to close, which we will switch between them. By the way, we are using font awesome library for icons. Cool. Now let's move to create our slides. We have slides, and every slide has a container, in the H1 and paragraph, our paragraph for the quote, and small tag for who said this quote, and the call to action button. And we have 4 slides here, and we give every slide its data. And now create the control part. We have slides control. This one contains current slide number, and we'll make this span dynamic later with JavaScript, which every slide has a number. And change slide has it has 2 icons to change between slides, one previous and the other one is next. They are complex font awesome icons.
Now it's CSS time. First let's set everything, margin 0 and padding 0, and box sizing border box, so our elements won't take more than their size even if we add to their padding or margin. Then we set our variables in the root. The root is the highest element in the DOM, so when we use CSS variables, the process is dynamic. We will pick 3 colors here, so we have main color and second color and third color. Good. And next we have our header. Add the position absolute so that our header is over the background image, and header container display flex, justify content, space between, and align items center, so the logo will take the far left and the navbar the far right, so they that are on the same line. And width 95% and max width 102,000 pixels. Basically we have the shorthand of these two properties, which is main method. Cool. And add to every slide. Width 100 viewport width and height 100 viewport height to full screen, and display flex and align and center to keep the content in the middle. Logo H2, font size trim, and color main color, and logo B, letter spacing 3 pixels, and font weight 700, and nav A, text decoration none, and margin rim, and you have hamburger, display color main color, cursor pointer, and Z and X, Z and X3, and display none because we don't need it now on desktop, we need it later on mobile. Awesome. I have slides with 400 viewport width and display flex because we'll move it later right and left with JavaScript when we're navigating between slides, and body overflow hidden because we need just one slide to appear on our screen. And let's add some margin left to slide container, and transform, translate 100 pixels because we will add to it some animation later. And now let's add to every slide its background image. So first we have Maldives. We will use a simple trick here with background linear gradient function to add black layer with 0.5 opacity to add some contrast in addition to our image URL background. And background size cover to display the image as you see, and do that with every slide. Great. We have slide H1, color, main color, and for the font size we will use magic CSS function for responsive typography, which is clamp. It accepts 3 values, minimum which is 14 pixels and maximum which is 107 pixels, and value between them. Usually this value is percentage or viewport width. In our case it is 10 viewport width, so our font size, as you see, mostly it's 10 viewport width, will not go below 40 pixels and will not exceed 107 pixels. I hope this makes sense. And slide B, color, second color, and max with 14 characters. And slide small, well, 10 pixels. And slide button, display block, border, pixels, solid, white, main color. And here we are. Of slide control, position absolute, because we need it on all slides. It is not in the same line with our text, because we will transform our text to its original place with animation later. And current slide number, color, third color, and auto count slide number, span, another color, and 3rem font size to make some hierarchy, and change slide color, main color, and change slide span, cursor pointer. As you see here, we should add margin auto to header container to be in the middle. As you see here, the responsiveness, it worked perfect because we think responsively. And in this point, we have to add a breakpoint here. So media query, media screen, and max width 750 pixels. Here the nav should appear vertically, so we add display flex and flex direction column, and 100 viewport width for the width, and for the height 100 viewport height to fill the screen. And background color, third color, position absolute, top minus 100 viewport height to be hidden, left 0 and align items center and justify content center to keep its content on the middle, and set index 2 to be over all other elements, and add transition because we'll open it and close it with animation. Let us fix this small issue. It is minus 100 viewport height, not viewport width. Now let's move to JavaScript to add our functionalities. We have our hamburger and navbar, and here when the role of our hamburger comes, so hamburger display block. Here we will switch between these two icons, the bars icon to open the navbar and times to close it. Cool. So hamburger, add the event listener, click, toggle class. So when the user click on the hamburger, execute toggle class function. Here we will separate each function. First we have toggle hamburger class function. In this function, hamburger class list toggle hamburger to open to switch between the icons we have mentioned. So as you see, when we add hamburger open class to the bars icon display none and the times icon display none. Times display block, sorry. Great. Then toggle navbar class function. So once open the navbar and once closed. Nav open top 0. And nav A, font size clamp. We have already talked about this method. So minimum size 2 rem and maximum 3 rem and between 8 viewport width. It works well. slide align item search to control it ourselves, and slide H1 margin top 13 viewport width to be responsive, as you see, and slide control top 80 viewport width and left 50%. It worked great. Cool. As you see here, we are going to this design. And current slide number, margin bottom 0, and we should add a breakpoint here. So media screen and max width 350 pixels, slides control top 380 pixels and left 770 pixels. Awesome, it works perfectly. And now let's add the functionalities to our change buttons. So let's select the first, the next and the previous buttons. So we have that next button equal document query selector, next, and previous button called document query selector previous, and slides let slides container equal document query selector dot slides, and let slides equal document dot equal slides container dot children. Cool. Let's mean all the slides, and let move distance equal slides equal slides 0 client width. Here we measure the width of the one slide with a dynamic way, and counter equals 0, and let current slide number equal document query selector current slide number span, and last but not least slide content equal document query selector all cool. And now let's add our events to our buttons. So next button, add event listener, click next image. So when click on next button, execute next image function. And previous button, add event listener, click previous image function. Let's try if it works. So next image function next image, console log hi. We have an error here, and yeah, we have to declare previous image function first, and there we go. Make sure it works, and great. So I'll divs container, animation show 1 second forwards. This is the first slide. So it have to animate when the page load, and here is our show animation, as you see. As you see, it works. On next image function, the counter increased by 1 each time, and slides container, style, transform, equal, translate, minus counter times move distance pixels, so that it moves every time with one slide width, which leads us to changing the slide. Let's separate this to separate function and call it move to make sure we are writing clean code. Cool. On previous image function, the counter decreased by 1, and add the move function either. Let's see how our counter behaves when click on next button. So console.log counter, as you see, and we have to stop it at some point, which is the number of our slides. So if counter equals slides.length minus 1, slides dot length minus 1, return nothing. And let's fix this typo bug here. Cool. And the same thing with the previous button. If counter equals 0, return nothing. We have animate function, slide content, counter, class list, add, animate. That's mean adding the animate class to the slide once we change to it. Here is the animate class, animation, show 1 second forwards, and add current slide function. The role of this function is to update the number of each slide. So current slide number, text content, equal 0, counter +1, and here we go. And last but not least, we have this small issue when we change the slides. As you see, the header hidden, so we need to add z-index 3. It works, and hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.